All right. Good morning. That event was insane. Well over 100,000 people. I heard numbers of 300. It's probably somewhere in the middle. There is a dramatic change, I think, coming to America, and that is representation of it. We're going to start off with the U.S. economy today and kick it off there. I do think I did call that Bitcoin was going to drop. It was going to drop to the 111,000 range. It did that perfectly. I should probably adjust this a little bit. I got my bottom right corner here. I'm a little off. Let me move this over. And I actually think what's happening right now is good. We're sitting at our trend line here that was established, let's see, back in December 2024. So we got a year-long trend line that we're just finding support on after perfectly bouncing off 111K. So exactly where I said it was going to drop yesterday afternoon before it did it. So I do think that I think this consolidation is perfectly normal. And let's jump into the U.S. economy real quick. Before I do that, I wanted to point out, too, that the October Fed rate cut is very much on with a 91.9% chance of a cut. Today, too, on the economic calendar, we have a bunch of Fed speak. So if anything's going to drive down the market, it's going to be that. We do have Canadian PPI, raw material prices, Chicago Fed National Activity Index. We got a couple of things in the U.S., so we will keep an eye on those. And that Canadian PPI, that should be interesting to see on how they do with raw material prices and producer price index. So we'll probably take a look at that too as it's happening. CNN Fear and Greed Index, we're sitting at 62, so we're barely in the greed status. I think that could actually drop. Historically, seasonally, this last week of September is a weak one before we head into October. So I do believe that we've had a really strong start to the beginning of the month in September, and so we could see a little bit of a drop. If we look at the crypto side of things, though, we're almost in fear territory. So we really haven't gotten a lot of bounce unless you've owned an HPC play like Iron, which I believe is rocking again this morning. They doubled their guidance, I wanted to say, for AI cloud revenue. And I mean, I told you guys last week, as much as I didn't want to say it because, again, I'm sold out of Iron, but we broke out of a multi-year trend that started really, I mean, back in October 2022, touched over here again, and we consolidated above it, and now we're going higher. So it looks like the next step is 44, and then I think potentially this cycle, I could see 80 with Iron. So it's doing really good. A lot of people are making money on that. I am not one of them, which is a little bit of a bummer. But we are consolidating and doing well in miners and other areas, and we will talk about that in a little bit here as well. So good morning, everybody. Yeah, rest in peace, Charlie. We'll still be talking about Charlie. I'll probably be doing intros that cover some of the things that he said previously at all of these college meetups that he's done for a while. I think I'm not stopping anytime soon. Ollie said, I think it's flush before tomorrow. Dennis Porter said, big news tomorrow. Yeah, I know he said that. I don't know how big it is. It might be big for him. Ted PD, hey, bad day, car broke down. Sorry to hear it, man. That's never fun. Not a good way to start off the week. I hope Dennis Porter doesn't overhype his announcement. I think he is. I wouldn't worry about it, though. All right, I wanted to point out this. Lance Roberts said U.S. households have boosted wealth by $6 trillion so far this year. That is if you're invested in the market. So again, about half the country's invested in the market, and they've got a wealth effect going on, right? So they made a bunch of money. And these people are still spending. And so you're not going to have a major slowdown in the economy when you've got the wealth effect of the stock market still firing off. I do believe that to be true. And again, $6 trillion, not a bad year. Lance Roberts, again, lower interest rates finally starting to boost mortgage refi activity. So we did get mortgage rates actually started to go up a little bit too. Here, we'll just look at the 10-year for now. But you could see how it did bounce a little bit last week as a rejection and that everything was okay. Or I should say as a rejection of the fact of the Fed lowering rates. Everybody had that narrative going, hey, rates are actually going up, everything's out of control. To be clear, the rest of the world's bond market is going a lot higher than ours is, and we're starting to roll over again on the 10-year and the 30-year. So that has come and it has gone, and we are going down again. Let's go over here real fast, and let me get something else off the screen here. All right, and let's go down here. So this is an important one that I wanted to talk about. So Seth Golden said they keep harping on credit card delinquency rate rising when it's doing anything but. So everybody's talking about credit card delinquencies going up, right? But if you look here, the delinquency rate on credit card loans, all commercial banks, percentage change from a year ago is actually in decline. So it's getting better. The momentum is shifting in the other direction. That's not a popular narrative, but it is the truth. And it will get better as rates go down. I also said this is the Shiller Cape, and this is the cyclically adjusted price earnings ratio, PE10, and it shows how we had peaked in 1966, we'd peaked in 1987 in Black Monday before it collapsed, and then you could see how high this was at the height of the dot-com bubble before we had a major bleed out. People don't realize this, but the Cape wasn't actually that high in 2008. That was just systemic issues with housing, and adjustable rate mortgages that really just caused, and the Moody's ratings that were just garbage, saying stuff was AAA debt when it really wasn't. And so that caused this huge collapse in 2008, but it really wasn't overextended in a large way outside of that. Now you can see again where we peaked over here in 2021 and then rolled over again. And you can also kind of see it in 2018 before the Fed tried to, for fun and just to try things out, it tried raising rates and it didn't work out good. And then the market then valuations went down, and then again the pandemic happened, and we had tons of money coming into the system, and we peaked in 2021, and then we got crushed again. And now, so if you look here, we're not really that high. We're not really that high. Again, people look at valuations in many different ways, but we're not doing that bad. Also, foreigners are buying U.S. treasuries at record pace, despite the narrative being the exact opposite. I'm actually going to jump into this one real quick because there's a slide I want to show you.
And that's going to turn.
I should have posted it. Let me see here. Let me see. These guys are interesting. Private buying and selling. There's another one I think right about. These guys are some goofy motherfuckers. But that's all right. They give me a lot of good information. It says U.S. tick private buying, selling of long-term U.S. treasuries. If you look here, this is the opposite of the narrative that you've been hearing from mainstream media and a lot of sources on X. They're telling you that everybody's running away from U.S. debt, and they're all trying to get away. And oh my God, we're so screwed, right? Well, that was probably true in the pandemic, right? You can look over here in 2020, you can see all the dumping of treasuries, a lot of it from China. But since then, there's virtually none. And I forget what these are. He's got some reasons for these, why they went negative. But basically, it's straight up positive, and it's record levels. So don't believe everything that you hear from people. Narratives are around all the time, and they're usually wrong. Backset says that forward 12-month PE ratio for the S&P is 22.6, which is above the 5-year average of 19.9, and above the 10-year average of 18.5. I've made this argument before, but we have some of the largest companies in the world that are continuing to get larger, and they're doing that because they're able to impact international markets, and they've got a total addressable market, a TAM, that is a lot higher than they ever would have been able to accomplish in the past. So I do believe that higher PE ratios, that these aren't obscene, and being 3 points above the 5-year average is not a big deal. It's higher than the 10-year average, right? But again, these companies have been getting bigger and bigger and bigger over time, and so it's perfectly normal for that to happen. It's perfectly normal. It's gonna get higher and higher and higher for its average. So I'm just saying that I don't think we're actually up that much. Again, whether we're looking at the Cape, Shiller, or whether we're looking at the PE ratio, I don't think it's that bad. All right, let me see here. Great content. Join the community last week, said Matt. Wanted to get your take on leaps coming due 1 to 3 months that are up a bit. When would you look to exit? I don't know which leaps you're talking about, Matt, so you'd have to give me some more details. I can tell you this. I've been saying on the channel for a while that my goal is to slowly start to exit leaps, and I'm not looking to get more unless they're a hedge, because I want to get some downside support. And so I'm dialing out a leverage plays to the upside. I think it's going to be a much better play just to hold like Tesla in the future. and some other investments. Little bit of cash, have a hedge, and be ready to ride out any storms that come. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more too, on why I do believe, even though I don't see us being as highly overvalued, we know that seasonality wise, and we know that from Michael Howell that liquidity wise, we should be a little wary near the end of this year. The Bitcoin and crypto markets usually top out in November to December. And for Ethereum in 2017, it was technically into January. So you could have a little bit of an extension, but I do think that you should be a little bit wary. And especially if we go up a lot, you should be cutting back a little bit. There is also a talk right now about the government shutting down. Nobody gives a fuck. Every time it happens, pretty much the market just keeps going up. There's other government shutdowns too, but it just goes up. We already talked about that. Let's see. My target has been 7,500 since May. So I'm just reiterating. Goldman has now raised their target to 7,500 by the end of the year, or 7,200 minus 7,500. That has not changed. Their targets have changed a lot, though. Isn't that funny? Let's keep going down here. So I've got Michael saying, my German brother from another mother says, I was told here countless times that GDP is not the right measure for prosperity. Name a better one. I'll wait. I'd say for now it still is. This shows life satisfaction scores, and then it shows GDP per capita. And again, Singapore, the United States, Netherlands, UK for now. These are places where people are happier. Hong Kong, understandably, not as much because, again, there's a Chinese dictatorship sitting next to it. Israel, one of the happiest places to live, which is insane considering how much hostility sits around them. Let me see here. Morning team. Good morning, good morning, good morning. A bunch of good mornings. Ted, always refreshing to hear how well things are actually going overall in the U.S. There is way too much news from people with Trump derangement syndrome. Yes, and so I'm trying to counter that. All right, so Steve Donzi says, easing like it's 2008 or 2020 into an AI boom. So this says share of central banks in net easing mode versus share of economies in recovering and expansion stage. So this is fascinating because, again, if you look back over here in 2008, we started at the bottom of the great financial crisis. We started to ease up significantly. And in doing so, you could see how we bounced really hard heading into the next year in 2009. We started to recover. And again, in 2020, you can see how the easing pressure happened. Actually, in 2018, we started to ease a little bit. But looking over here, or I should say economies with OECD, leading economic indicator in recovery or expansion. So you can see how we started to ease over here in about 2019 with liquidity pressures. And then again, over here, the lei really plummeted after the pandemic. And at that time, we were at peak easing. And or peak easing pressure, and then slowly started to release the valve. This one's a little weird as far as the easing pressure and the way that it's displayed. But this time, the argument he's trying to make is that we're actually already in expansion since the bottom of the bear. I'd say really the bear market happened in 2022. Again, I've said this a bunch of times, but Meta, Palantir, Robinhood, so many Tesla, so many companies down 75% plus in October, November of 2022. And since that time, we've been recovering, and we're still doing well. And now we're going to start easing and lowering rates. So he's saying that, hey, this could be quite the bubble, and I agree with him. The Russell 2000, again, we talked about this last week, but Charlie Balelo said, hey, this thing just is right at breaking out to new all-time highs, and it did briefly for a second. Just like the total 3 crypto market caps and a few other indices, we saw a breakout to the upside. And so I still think that's coming because we've got U.S. printing money, we got China printing money, EU printing money, and China's going to really start to explode. I think people are going to start to understand the severity of what's happening in that country very, 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 very soon. And I normally don't say that. Strategy bought 850 Bitcoin. Awesome. We know that Metaplanet got a little over 5,000 too, and that they're sitting as the number 5 Bitcoin treasury company on this planet, which is cool. But yeah, so money keeps expanding, and as money keeps expanding, Bitcoin will catch up to it. So far, it looks like gold's getting the bump today, but I think that's going to pause real soon, and that we're going to start seeing in October all that money flowing into crypto. Kobayashi letter. Yep. Metaplanet's at 25,555 Bitcoin. Unbelievably fast accumulation. I would agree, Kirby. It definitely is. Beatty says, good morning. I'm buying ETHZ today as an acquisition hedge. Not sure what you mean by that. Oh, you just mean a hedge. I think there were rumors about ETHZ maybe having some of their stock bought by BMNR or maybe getting purchased. Yeah, okay. I gotcha. Any hope for Coincilium? Everybody asks that every week. I think there is, but I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. How's that for an answer? High fees, one of the shittiest Bitcoin treasuries out there. Will it pump a bunch, though, between now and the end of November? Probably. Thank you to the 1,246 people that it says are here. If you guys could hit the like button, that would be amazing. I'd really appreciate it. Splink says, do you think the money will start flowing from the predicted rate cut? Makes sense to phase some in now, then more later. Not sure what you mean by the money flowing. Yes. I mean, liquidity is going to be popping hard. It is just by the nature of the beast. It didn't happen right away at the end of last week. Thursday and Friday, rates started to just go up a little bit, but they're rolling over now. Kobayashi letter, institutional investors are becoming more bullish. The average funding spread jumped 20 basis points over the last 20 days. It's the highest level since December 2024. The gauge measures institutional demand for long stock exposure. Remember, guys, these guys have not been long. There's been a lot of hedge funds. There's been a lot of institutional investors that were sidelined. And now they're starting to go, hey, I think this thing might go up for a little bit. After a bunch of retail have already made a bunch of money. And so the average funding spread here, it says second and fourth contract. If you look at it, it's pulling up. So professional investor positioning is pulling up into this rally, and they're starting to realize it's real. And so they're taking the consolidation and they're taking advantage of it. Andy, thank you for becoming a member. You can talk and chat. And thank you for everybody that's signed up that continues to be members and everybody who hit the like. I really appreciate you guys. Let's see. Oh, that was you? No, we're good there. I think I'm caught up with chat. Guys, let me know if you have any other questions. So Peter put this out. It said college tuition is up 695% over the last 40 years. Overall inflation's up 200%. This isn't normal. It isn't sustainable. This isn't a good thing. I would agree. I think having a 3x multiplier to U.S. inflation is really bad for college. I don't think a lot of people need to go to college. And we've shown you other charts where administrative bloat has expanded exponentially. That's why we're going to be killing the Department of Education and doing a whole lot more, is to fix a lot of these problems and make it to where it's cheaper. Dan, thank you for becoming a member. You should be able to talk and chat now. I did post about this, and Fundstrat doesn't have a lot of new videos, so I'm actually going to go into this one. I think I posted this Friday. So yeah, I want to watch this. So I don't think he's got a new video. Let's just go back real quick before I watch this. Let's see if we got a new one. ASST is halted at $4. That thing's such a piece of shit. Who is glad that they sold in the 12s? Who's glad that they sold in the 12s? Because I told you it was going to fuck you. All right. Let's go back here. So yeah, we will watch that video. Let's listen to Tom Lee. This is only 5 minutes, and it's a good one, I think. It's a good one just talking about the rally. He hasn't done anything new since. Here we go.
Good evening, FS Insight family and community. Today is Thursday, September 18th, and this is our Macro Minute.
Hi, Tommy.
We're largely through the key catalysts for September. As you know, we talked about how consensus thought September would be a down month, but we had the non-consensus view that September would be up. And then we had the August jobs report and August CPI, and both were positive for markets because they were ultimately interpreted as dovish. And yesterday we had the FOMC rate decision, and it was a dovish cut. The Fed cut 25 basis points, but he had a dovish explanation and really talked about how the risks have shifted towards the job market.
He's
now,
right.
This is what we expected. As you know, we sent out an alert on Wednesday before the FOMC rate decision, and our take was that stocks were hesitant into that decision. That's because I think investors were thinking stocks would be down, but our take was that we would ultimately rally post FOMC decision.
I just want to reiterate, guys. Here, I think my glasses are crooked. There we go. I just want to reiterate that Tom Lee gave me credit for being ahead of even himself by several weeks. with that prediction that September was going to be an up month. So just got to self-promote a little bit. Not always the humblest person, working on it, but I did totally fucking call that before everybody else.
And that's what's happened because on today, which is Thursday, not only was the S&P up, but it was led
Thanks,
by
Ash.
the NASDAQ up 1% and small caps up 2.5%. And more importantly, I think there will be continue to be follow through. This is shared from Carson Research, but they show that whenever the Fed cut near all-time highs, markets had 12-month gains 100% of the time.
So I want to reiterate this, then I'm going to get caught up in chat too, since you guys are talking about a bunch of interesting stuff. But bar chart said when the Fed cuts interest rates within 2% of the stock market all-time highs, the S&P has gone to finish higher over the next 12 months, 20 out of 20 times. 20 out of 20. I saw somebody else quote that this was inaccurate, but they can't do math and evidently figure out dates. This is super important. Let's see here. NVIDIA bought $5 billion worth of Intel on Friday. Bullish on Intel or still. I don't know. I don't love Intel, but if Intel gets enough support from companies like NVIDIA, I think they can do well. And we need a foundry. We need foundries in the United States. So we're going to have Taiwan Semiconductor, and we're going to have Intel. And I think I've got a feeling, especially with the investment that NVIDIA has made into Intel, that they're going to help support them greatly with their foundry services. That way we have a homegrown version in the United States trying to catch up to Taiwan Semiconductor. So I actually think Intel could do all right. I think they could do all right. And Ash, thank you for your comments about my wife and daughter and the schooling. We're trying to figure that out this week. We're looking at a place that's kind of like a Montessori, but not liberal like a lot of Montessoris can be. And with a little bit of religion behind it, but not really a focus on anything specific. And just, again, using, like, one of the things, we went to the school on Friday and hung out there. And in the middle school side, one of the things they were doing in their day is they were having a conversation about creating a contract, which is basically what the rules that they have to follow in regard to a particular subject. And the subject was the use of AI with their schoolwork and sourcing and information. I thought that was pretty awesome, considering they're trying to figure out their contract and what is acceptable and what is not for their use of AI in schooling as middle schoolers. So that was kind of cool. That was like one of the things they were doing after lunch. So I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting. It'll be weird for my daughter to go from a traditional learning environment to something where you're setting goals at the beginning of your day and you're trying to figure out and you're figure out how to learn at your own pace, and then use the latest technology and online sources to get smarter. So it's going to be weird, but I think it's going to go well. Rumors of BM&R buying EZ. Yeah, I've heard those too. We'll see if it's right, or if it's just a rumor to pump the price. Let's see here. Dario, who do you think has solid leap plays in X? I know James from Invest Answers posts. I don't think leaps are actually a really good option right now. And I think I had really good leap plays. I made a fortune off of them. If anything, I sold them too early. I got Iron early. I got MicroStrategy at the bottom of the bear market with 2-year leaps. I got Tesla at the $100 range with 2-year leaps. I got Hood with 2-year leaps. I got Palantir with 2-year leaps. So I think I'm really good at it, but it has not been great recently because the only ones I've still had were miners. And they got brutalized, but I think they're going to be coming back in a major way over the next 2 weeks. If anybody was going to do a YOLO bet, I don't know. I'd be curious what some of the multipliers look like behind some of these miners and Bitcoin treasury companies between now and the end of the year. Again, not financial advice, but you've got my Options 101 video that's sitting on YouTube. You can look at it and see if there's a good multiplier for some of those contracts, maybe in November, maybe December. I don't know. But again, it's one of those things where I don't like short time frames at all. I don't like leaps right now, but if I was going to do any, I'd probably do something like that. All right, what else we got? The leaps I asked about, and SoFi was another one that I had leaps on. Sold too early there too, though. The leaps I asked about are on SoFi and Palantir are coming due. Oh, okay. At the beginning of 2026, SoFi is up 6x and Palantir 22. Should I? I would unload, dude. I would unload. Yeah, you're missing. So there's two different types of value that come with options contracts, right? There's extrinsic and intrinsic, right? Intrinsic means that the actual value of the contracts at the time of expiration. So whatever the you said, hey, this is going to be 20, and then it ends up being 40, and you get the difference for each share, and each contract is 100 shares. That's the intrinsic value. It's just the real world value of it. There's extrinsic too, and extrinsic bleeds like a motherfucker at the end of the contracts, and that is the extra premium that is applied to them for time, right? As the time runs out, like a wicked curve, it just falls off a cliff, which is why people shouldn't do short-dated options, because you have a massive bleed that you're fighting against with extrinsic value decaying. So I personally would probably unload those, not financial advice, and I would just revert to stock. If you've done 22x on Palantir, be grateful for what you have. Don't be too greedy. Start to deleverage. Maybe think about some of this like Bitminer and the Smarter Web Company or MetaPlanet or some of these other plays, or Solt, a 2x Solana fund. It's gotten crushed the last couple of days, but I think it's going to do really well here soon, I don't know, maybe this week. So I would think about stuff like that personally. Yeah, I know. We talked about that loss. I actually posted about it recently too. Iron announced that they're doubling their cloud AI forward guidance, I believe it is. Echo, hey Jesse, love your content. I'm watching with my girlfriend this morning. We'll tell her hi. It's her first. She's learning about all this stuff. Cool. Well, hopefully I can be of value to you guys. Let me know if you have any questions. Let's continue with Tom Lee real quick though and get through this super fast. We got about 10 minutes until we get another series of economic data. Oh, if I hit the button.
I think it's a bullish cut. And again, we're in an easing cycle. But we come back to the question of what will outperform post-Fed. And as you know, we laid out this simple framework that we have a Fed that's dovish, which is Fed liquidity. We believe the ISM is going to recover now to above 50. Mortgage rates should decline, which will help housing.
Yep.
And I think it's a general risk on sentiment, which will get cash off the sidelines. And we said that we thought the leaders would be Mag 7 and AI tied to both really ultimately liquidity,
All right, speed
crypto,
up, Tom.
which is tied to liquidity, and small caps and financials because they're tied to not only liquidity, but boosting employment and housing. But we thought that the bigger effect in the near term would really be the liquidity impact, which would benefit Mag 7, Bitcoin, small caps. And that's what we saw today, that the two best performing indices were Ethereum and Bitcoin since that FOMC rate decision. And not only did they outperform, which is consistent with what happened in 2024, but you could see that the stocks levered to Bitcoin, Bitmain, which is the largest holder of Ethereum, was up 5%. If we're at a top and they think markets are expensive, okay? But I want to come back to NVIDIA because it's arguably the single most important stock in the world. It's trading at around 160 and trades at 26 times forward earnings, okay? And I don't think that's expensive because...
All right, I'm gonna get into this. I saw one question. Hario said, too late to catch iron. Ugh, I would not do it with leverage. That's all I want to say. Do not do it with leverage because I think that's a dangerous move. But if you look over here, again, because you're just so far into the parabola, dude, that's my only worry. I actually think iron could keep going up. I said this before. I think we're actually probably going to at least $80 with iron. And it could maybe even do higher than that. The problem is if it goes to 80, we're sitting at about a $20 billion market cap. But hell, maybe it could land somewhere in between here. There's no way it's going up to here. This is like the parabolic move level, but it could go to 100 or maybe into the hundreds this cycle. It could do that. But I think that you're probably better off right now getting a Bitcoin treasury, getting Solana 2x fund, getting BMNR personally, or maybe even one of the miners like CleanSpark. CleanSpark has the added luxury of like them maybe moving into high performance compute and getting a contract. And these guys haven't diluted at all. They're down this morning, but again, I think it's a quick 23% upside in a very short period of time on this. And for CleanSpark, I think my targets are 33 at the low end by like November-ish. to 51 at the high end. So I don't know. I don't know if the risk to reward. Iron's done so well, but it could keep going because, again, they just raised their guidance. So it just all depends. If for any reason the AI narrative slows down, though, Iron's just going to get bitch slapped. Just bitch slapped. So just remember that. Even though I think it might not. Now let's get back to Tom Lee and listen to why.
One, as you can see here on the PE, it's trading at the...
So still a reasonable PE. You can see up here, the PE ratio, it's got like 168 up here for NVIDIA, and then it's got PE of 26.8 or 26.6. Geez, I'm tired.
The middle of its range for the past few years. But it's also cheap because Costco is at 48 times earnings.
I mean, look at that. Costco is running 47.8 and Walmart is 34.8.
And Walmart's 34 times. And so if a staple stock trades at a higher multiple and yet NVIDIA is scarcer, its PE should be going up.
Okay. He's right. Yep.
Now, you might say, well, isn't NVIDIA Cisco? Let's go back to 1998 when the Fed made its cut in September. And Cisco was $16 then.
If you guys don't remember Cisco, it's a company that's still around today, but its valuation peaked a very, very long time ago, back in the dot-com bubble.
And its PE was 55.7 times. So its PE is a lot higher than NVIDIA's, twice that. But look at what happened between 1998 and 2000.
Stripe bought similar?
Cisco stock rose by a factor of 5 to $80, and its PE went to 10. So I think we're still very early in terms of arguing NVIDIA as a bubble. Moreover, look at sentiment. The AAI.
So what he just said there, guys, is if it's anything like Cisco, we could be 2 years away from the bubble top in NVIDIA. And think about that, what that does for all these other chip-related, AI-related companies. They're just spending a fortune, and there's going to be a lot of beneficiaries of that. Energy is probably going to be a huge beneficiary of that. I know a lot of people talking about uranium right now. I haven't looked into it, but maybe I should.
In terms of arguing NVIDIA as a bubble. Moreover, look at sentiment. The AAII latest survey came out. The bears still outnumber the bulls. This has gone on for 7 weeks now. Okay, despite having all-time highs at S&P, the bulls less bears is negative. That just doesn't make sense either. I think sentiment is bearish at the highs. And we stuck with...
What did he say here? I think I missed that part.
Bulls less bears is negative.
Okay. Unprecedented bearishness despite all-time... Is it really? I didn't even notice this when I watched the video. That's fascinating. So there's still an overwhelmingly high amount of bearishness, even though we know institutions are coming in, even though we know buybacks are going to be huge at the end of this year, heading in, with Q4, we're going to see just a large amount of buybacks, and we've got a rate cutting cycle, and we've got growing liquidity. It's weird to me that bearish sentiment is still so strong, but I see it, guys. I see it in posts all the time. My posts, I've got posts that are really good. They'll get 100 likes. Somebody who has a third of the followers that I have will post something negative that it's shallow research. It's not accurate in its reference, and it will have 10 times the number of likes, 30 times the number of likes, when it's just not thoughtful. Oh, did he join Backed? I got to say, guys, Mike Alford is somebody for a while I kind of shit on. I didn't like him, his personality, but then I realized maybe part of it is too much like my own. And but I do like him now. He's a smart guy, and he's a good dude. And everybody that listened to him on Iron, I wish I would have listened to him more myself, has made just a shit ton of money. So it's really cool to hear that he's on the board now. Backed. He was talking about joining another company's board. So that's really cool. Good for him. Great work, Mike.
That just doesn't make sense either. I think sentiment is bearish at the highs. And we stuck with we continue to recommend the same things, which is Mag 7 and crypto because of AI and what's happening with the blockchain, and industrials, financials, and small caps because of a dovish Fed. So stay on target and keep in mind this is still, believe it or not, the most hated V-shaped rally. Thank you.
Agreed, brother. Agreed. So every once in a while here, I give away Tom Lee's work for free. Tom, don't sue me, bro. But he does a great job, and I don't share everything. So if you want to actually get access to it, you got to subscribe. But he's a great dude. It doesn't look like he has any updates today. I kind of don't blame him. As wishy-washy as everything's going to be. Look at this guy. So again, we talked about how we had grinded up here. We'd hit it. We broke above it. We consolidated beautifully. We said that we were going to go up very quickly to 44 for iron. It's up 11% in pre-market. But I didn't just want to look at that. I wanted to look. Somebody said here that Simler Scientific just got purchased by Strive. Is that what you said to me? So let's see what that looks like. Did you say it was Simler? Strive agrees today to buy Simler. Do you know the terms of the agreement? Can anybody grok that real quick? Because it doesn't look like it did much here. Let me see. Let me see if we have Strive in this list. What is their ticker? God dang it. Strive. So many tickers. Is that the CCC? I don't even remember anymore. Anyway, let me know the ticker. But yeah, I don't see. It was an all stock deal. What was the price at? $29. It doesn't look like anything happened here. But Simler was just dying. They had there was a reason we got out of it, guys, compared to these others. Looks like ASST and Simler both halted. Oh, it halted. That's different. So it could be a lot higher. We just don't know. Okay, so we'll see what happens with that. That might have started to move like at a crazy pace. And what's happening with ASST? Do we know? I know this. I am so glad. I hope all of you got out when I told you to up here. Remember when I told you, hey, I just sold everything? Last week? No, it was a week and a half ago. What the fuck? $90? What's $90? ASST is Strive. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, they're the same now, aren't they? And what happened to it? What happened with ASST? Oh, you think the deal was at 90? Ah, I gotcha. Okay. So let's look here. So what is Simler at? Oh my God, if that's the case, this thing's going up 200 fucking %. What? Shut the fuck up. Yeah, ASST might actually go up. That is fucking fascinating. Okay. So how much Bitcoin did Simler have? Oh, guys, this could be interesting. I'm not on this one, so I'm not going to benefit from it at all. And I don't know if this amounts to that big of a move. Let's see though. Simler was number 19 with 5,000 Bitcoin. So they just inherited all of that in this acquisition deal. So, and what it was ASST before? Let's just look here real quick. This is fascinating. Sorry. This is interesting, guys. We've got talk now. We got mergers that happen with Simler and ASST. We have talk of BMNR trying to do a buyout with ETH. Are we really looking at M&A in the treasury sector? Is that what's fucking happening? Because that's a good time, man. You get M&A, you get mergers and acquisitions happening, and things are going to get awesome. Let's see. Where's ASST? Did we have it in here before? I don't even know if it was in the list before. Oh, no. There it is. Strive. I don't know if that's accurate. Maybe it is. But either way, if that's true, they went from 105 to at least 19, if not 18, getting behind China's Congo. This is True North, guys. It'll moon. Yeah, there's tons of True North stuff, right? Hopefully we see that same thing with Ben Workman here soon with SQNS. But this is exciting. I like mergers and acquisitions, man. This is fucking cool. This is where the fun stuff happens. This is where the fun stuff happens. So this is good. This is good. This screams risk on. These consolidations are just going to be so good for the market. So we'll keep an eye on ASST. That's definitely something. We'll watch these as the bell opens. We did get economic data. Let's jump to it real quick here. Would that? I would fucking take that. It would be wild. Somebody said it would be. Sat said it would be wild if MetaPlanet bought SWC, the Smarter Web Company. That would be fucking cool. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how that would work. I don't know if they do that. I don't know if there's enough incentive. I can tell you this: SWC today, guys, in the UK, that shithole with Keir Starmer is bouncing again. So again, we're starting to see some bouncy bounce, and we're seeing divergences here, right? You got the RSI with a higher low than it had before. So you got this upward move and a very downward move, which normally marks a bottom. And then you got some peak volumes too. Maybe not so much in the UK, but the US has a lot. Metaplanet would pump more than 5K by announcement. Metaplanet's going to do good, I think, guys. I think we're in that time frame where we're going to start to see them doing better. I think they're bottoming. I think the Smarter Web company is bottoming. EOC, we could look at that in a second. Oh, you know what? That economic data, though. Bring that up in a bit here. I just want to see this. Ted, Bitcoin dropping hurt that. Who was that? Ted. I thought Metaplanet would pump. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I told you guys yesterday that Bitcoin was going to drop to 11,000. So when you go from 115, 116 over the weekend, Friday, to 11,000, it gets a little testy. I think it was even higher, wasn't it? Yeah, 118 or something like that. All right, let's look here. Let me know if there's an issue with the stream, guys. Can you tell me how it's doing? It's kind of hard to tell right now. And if you guys are here, please hit the like button. It helps the channel, and I appreciate it. I'm trying to do a better job with the format here. I'm going to be working my ass off the next 2 fucking months. I'll probably be doing 80-hour weeks, or 80 to 100, just to try and keep up and make it to where I'm doing a good job for you guys. So the likes would be very much appreciated in the weeks and months ahead. PPI for Canada. I want to look at this first. 0.5% PPI month over month. Let's look at the year, though. 4% PPI, Producer Price Index. The forecast was 4.3. The previous month was 2.6. So lower than expected producer price costs for Canada. Raw material prices year over year, 3.2%. Forecast was 2.5. Previous was 0.7. So massive uptick in raw material price costs for Canada. But again, if you look at the trend, it's just kind of slowly going this way. It's probably not that crazy. Chicago Fed National Activity Index. This is pretty much all we're getting today. We're still in the negative. This is actually crazy. I need to go back further. Let me see here. It oscillates a lot. But you could see this is actually pretty crazy. So I've got to go back a ways just to kind of represent some of it, but we were underneath. We were in the kind of like negative oscillation with the Chicago Fed National Activity Index consistently before the pandemic. Then we plummeted like a rock. Then we got all the stimulus. Then we idled above it for a very, very long time. And if we jump back here, you can see how we did. We idled above it. Really, one could say to like even the end of October, maybe beginning of September or January 2023. But then since then, it's been pretty negative. And so I would almost argue that it looks like we're starting to turn back up. And 0.12 actual, is that the number? Let me go back here real quick. Yeah, 0.12 actual. Previous was 0.28. Forecast was 0.17. So it looks like, if anything, it looks to me like we're going to start oscillating higher. It looks like we're going to oscillate higher or have the potential to. Again, this is like a coiled spring. All of 2023, 2024, and 2025 to go higher. I hope someone buys BMNR. I don't think anybody's buying BMNR, bro. BMNR is fucking huge. BMNR will be doing all the buying. Like we said, they might buy ETHZ or some of these others. ETHZ has 102,000 Ethereum. So I could see Bitmine buying SharpLink. Wouldn't that be wild? Would that be wild, guys? Bitmine's a $9 billion company. SBET's 3.5, or more likely, maybe like Ether Machine or Pulse Chain, or no, these are actual networks. Bit digital, maybe that could be a complicated story, but maybe. But yeah, we could see some of these others. I could see why people defaulted to ETHZ as far as the potential of an acquisition story. And it's up 15 fucking %. It's got to be real. It's got to be real. I mean, it doesn't have to be, but it could be. And if it really is happening, we'll probably see this gap close super fast. This gap will probably close up here on ETHZ at the 450 range. And here's the thing. If your stuff isn't popping and these things are popping and you're like, oh, fuck, Why isn't my stuff running? Be patient. It all goes higher. All of it. This is just how it works. The money flows from one container to another as people look for the thing that hasn't run, that's likely to run next. Everybody has a different version of that, but it's all up. So just be patient. Vivek is behind ASST. He probably barely even pays attention to it, but you're right. He is one of the original backers behind it. But now it's Strive, so it's got their entire group behind them. It looks, I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's the bounce. Maybe ASST is something to get back into again. So I told you guys, I mean, this is probably the place to do it if you're going to do it. Let me do something real quick here. We'll look at this just to kind of help people out here. So let's see. We'll just go from here to here. So over the shorter time. Oh, wait. What am I doing? I don't want to do that. Let's see here. I want to go further. I want to do it from like here. I don't know. My brain isn't functioning today. Just give me a second. I'll probably do it from here, March of 2025. And then I'm just going to leave it on this original one over here. I mean, honestly, this looks like a bottom. Just from a technical level. This could be it. So if you're interested in trying to ride a wave again, I'm not going to do it. But if you're interested in trying to ride a wave, you could maybe purchase and get into this now. I'm not going to do it. I just don't. I'm happy that I got out at 12. I'm happy I applied the money somewhere else. I still don't know enough about what's going on with this. And I guess has the dilution fully occurred now? I'm assuming it has. I don't know. I haven't kept up since I sold it. Reload page helped. Thanks, Matanga. Not until after the dilution of shares. Yeah, see, that's what has it happened though? Have the shares been diluted? Let me ask Grok. All right, so I asked if there's more share dilution coming to Grok, and I've got it running on heavy mode, so we'll let it crank away and see what it says. Jesse, would you buy ASST if it dropped to $2? I don't know. I don't know enough. I'd have to reapplicate. Let's see what happens with this query. I do the same thing with Grok. Yeah. Oh, dude, you got to use Grok, guys. You got to use Grok. You should ask everything where you're like, hey, I wonder if this. Hey, I wonder if this. You literally have one of the most brilliant AIs on the planet that's only getting smarter by the day sitting next to you, able to answer that fucking question. How are you going to get smarter if you don't take the questions that come into your head and then put them in somewhere and find out what the answers are? And it's not even hard. It's not even hard. Honestly, I think if I could just have like a basic curriculum and just set an AI in front of my daughter, I think that's school nowadays outside of socialization. Victor Hernandez, if BMNR buys ETH, BMNR should come down because of the purchase, but should be positive in the long run, right? Oh, it'll be positive. BMNR just bounces all the fucking time. That's all it knows how to do. Tesla looking good. Oh my God. Okay. So let's get back over here. I'm getting sidetracked. We need to. So we got the Nvidia. So we think Nvidia could last several more years, right? I put going up. This is from September 7th. We're done with U.S. economy. Let's go over. Where do we want to go now? I'm going to go to Trump. Fuck it. We're going Trump. We're doing it. So I wrote, a reckoning is coming for the DNC. If you haven't seen this, the All In Pod said that this video was suppressed along with a few others by YouTube. That's their guess, is that it was demonetized or suppressed because it says things in it that they don't agree with. They literally have like keywords they look for: Russia hoax, all these different things, to where they suppress this information so that misinformation isn't being distributed. It's funny because you'd think that Tulsi Gabbard, U.S. Director of National Intelligence, would be the person you wouldn't censor. But you should watch it if you want to understand how much Obama lied, and how the war in Iraq was literally, again, weapons of mass destruction fabricated, just like Obama did with the Russiagate hoax right before he left office. He literally asked the intelligence communities to write a report that shows how Russia interfered, and they did just that, whether it was true or not. And they used sources that weren't even reputable, and that within the intelligence community at the time, they would not refer to these sources for intel. And yet, for Obama, they did, because he gave them the assignment and they fulfilled it. So it's fascinating. There's just a lot of corruption there, and it's not going to end up good for those guys. Jesse, you are The Walking Dead. Okay, let me know when you get all those words in there. Dennis, I don't know what you're saying, but all right, let's go over here. Other stuff. I said it should be about skill. If it's not, people are dying from negligence. So this shows med school acceptance rates, and it shows you how blacks with way lower GPAs and MCATs were able to get 10 times as many jobs as Asians, and about 7 to 8 times as many jobs as blacks were able to get that over whites. And Hispanics were up there, but blacks really were served the most from DEI. And this is insane, right? You don't want to have a big category at the bottom end of this for people with the lowest scores. You want some of the highest, most gifted, highly scored people to be the ones that are accepted into med school. You don't want to die on the operating table because we were trying to fulfill a quota. Who wants to be that person? So anyway, I thought that was a good visual. Why is Mila? Okay, I didn't see that. Hey, Jesse, can you chart the Smarter Web Company and MetaPlanet? Seems like both are bottoming on here. Yes, I will. Just give me a little bit of time here. So this is interesting. New Jersey, the Democratic mayor of Branchville, New Jersey, Anthony Fratto, along with a Democratic councilman, have officially endorsed Republican candidates for the governor. This is happening in a number of different areas, so this is just fascinating. This is in New Jersey. Fascinating. That's a word I must use. I would love to see a follow-up response from Elon Musk. So H-1B visas, that was a big conversation last week. So Space Sudor said he brought this up. This is from 2024, the end of 2024, and I forgot this even existed. Everybody's like, oh no, the H-1B visa program is broken. This is horrible for tech. And this is so bad. But look at this here. This is fucking amazing. We've got Elon in 2024 saying H-1B visas can easily be fixed by raising the minimum salary significantly and adding a yearly cost for maintaining the visa, making it materially more expensive to hire from overseas than domestically. It's been very clear that the program is broken and needs major reform. So it's his fucking idea. Of course, by the way, the $60K H-1B minimum was set many years ago. If brought to present day, it would be more like $120,000 directionally correct. No question that H-1B system needs to be overhauled. So I think almost everybody I listened to last week talk about H-1B visas doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. Also, there's other stuff with the visas that I want to reference real quickly. It doesn't impact people that are already here, and it doesn't impact people that are on student type visas, or let's say this H-1B visa is the student visa. That's kind of dumb, but that are here getting an education. If you're getting an education here and you want to stay, now is your chance. So you either stay, get a fucking job here, or you leave and lower your chances of ever being able to come back. Because you got to find somebody that's willing to pay $100,000 a year for you to be here. I think this is actually fucking brilliant. I don't think anybody has that view. I don't think anybody has that view. But Elon even came up with this fucking idea, and Trump just got done meeting with all the major CEOs of tech. You don't think he floated this fucking concept past them? They're fine. And top talent is still fine. It's coming here. But the bottom talent that aren't the best, that are the DEI hires, that are the dipshits, they aren't going to be fine. If you're not the best of the best, you're not going to be able to start here. Now, I got to say this. I've got friends that are from India And I think they're going to be fine because they're already here. I also think that some of this, at least some of this, there might be loopholes that they'll work in later, but I think some of it is also to pressure Prime Minister Modi because there were Indian stock companies that helped facilitate all of the employees that end up being outsourced in the United States, right? And so they just got crushed last week because, as far as I know, H-1B visas, like almost 70% of those, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong and run a grok, let me know if I'm lying here, are with of people of Indian descent, and then there's a lot of Asian in there too, and then a few other countries. So you're getting a lot of people coming over. And so I think he's using that as a weapon against Modi because, again, he's got 50% tariffs on him. He wished him a happy birthday, and Modi said nice things back, even though we've got these massive tariffs. And then now we're making outsourcing difficult, if not impossible, going forward for new people coming from India. And so we're saying, hey, if you want access to this fucking market, you better move. You better help us in the war between Russia and Ukraine. There's so much pressure being applied there. I think it's partially that. So we might make some holes to allow India in the future. But we're also trapping those people, trapping the Indians. This is great. This is awesome commentary for anybody jumping in right now. We're trying to get them to stay here. So if you're getting educated here, we don't want you to go back to India and then open an outsourcing company where you have a bunch of people on the phone that are doing stuff here. Plus, a lot of those kind of businesses are going to die. AI is going to take them over. But we want the top talent from India to stay here. So what better way to do that than to say, hey, if you fucking leave, you're screwed. But if you stay, you're good. And so I think we'll have some kind of loophole for them, and I think we'll use this as leverage to end the war, and I'm excited about both those things. And I didn't even know that Elon came up with this fucking idea, but isn't that cool? Speaking of crazy fucking liberals, it feels like that's all we do anymore. This dipshit shot up a wedding in New Hampshire screaming "Free Palestine." His name is Gamer Furry Hunter Nadeau. So this guy, I don't know if he shot one person and killed them, I guess. And he shot up a wedding at a country club. Somebody was getting fucking married, and this guy thought, what better way to free Palestine than to murder people that are getting married at a country club? So this is the Democratic Party. It's endless. Nobody's even talking about this because things are happening too quickly for people to even care anymore. I said Democrats will destroy their cities, counties, and states, making voting decisions pretty easy in the future. I want to be clear about something, too, before I jump into this post. Last week, I said, hey, guys, Atlas Intel had this poll, and it's not good for Republicans. And it shows losing 8 seats in the House in the next election in 2026. And so I'm honest, like Atlas Intel is they're an A-plus pollster. They're right if they're polling that. That happened before Charlie Kirk's death. That happened before, what was it, Irina, or the Ukrainian girl? That happened before, maybe questionably around the time of that shooting with that Christian church where that transgender dude shot all those fucking kids. That happened before this nut job shot up a wedding. That happened before all these things, all the fucking things that we've seen recently that it's hard to keep up with. And we had a shooting in California too, where a guy shot up an ABC News affiliate because he was pissed that they got rid of Jimmy Kimmel. So evidently you shoot people for that too. Only shot 3 bullets into the building. He's already released, from what I understand, by the way, within 48 hours. This guy shot at a fucking building, and he is walking free. So I'm just going to say, I think the Democrats are making a lot of bad decisions right now. And if you are one, I'm sorry to tell you, but I think you're being fucking stupid. And you're fucking yourselves. And so I changed my opinion, man. I don't think the Republicans are going to lose shit in 2026. I think that poll is going to show in the future, when they run another one in probably another 6 months, that the Democrats are destroying themselves with these moves, with these assassinations, with the continued violence. You got Erica Kirk literally forgiving the motherfucker that shot Charlie Kirk, her husband. Forgiving him. He just fucking killed her husband. And Democrats cheered it on. So I don't think that helps them at all. I think we're seeing a massive shift. I think we're seeing a holy war beginning. And I won't go too far down the rabbit hole, but I think between Islam and Christianity and wokeism and communism, and it's all coming to a head. You've got the evil, which is the communism, socialism, just all the bad things throughout history. Again, more people have died from communism/socialism, whatever flavor you want to call it, than from anything else on this earth. Whether it was Chairman Mao, whether it was Stalin, these things all lead to the same place. And again, Adolf Hitler was horrible. Fascism is bad too. Actually, the Democratic Party are a bunch of fascists. They don't even realize it. But the way they're doing this is this is a fascist approach to taking over a country with terror, right? So it's interesting to me what they're doing. And in Hennepin County law enforcement, sorry for going on the rant, leaders are calling the decision not to prosecute felonies stemming from traffic stops. What does that mean? Instead of arresting people with drugs or illegally possessed guns, so you could have just a gun, you just got done shooting somebody. We'll use the stop as a learning opportunity instead of trying to prosecute crime. That's cool. And for all the censor warriors out there, Kamala Harris, let's be honest. Real Donald Trump's Twitter account should be suspended. Okay. So we don't really care about freedom of speech per se. And I got a good one. I got a joke about that, actually. Let's find it. That's another joke right there. That's Gavin Newsom. I don't know if you guys know who he is. Let me see if I can find this other one, though. I think I got a good. Maybe I didn't store it. That sucks. Thought I saved it. Let me refresh. Might need to refresh. Jesse, did you do ETH Sol already? Yes, I can look those up. I'll pull them up. Give me 1 second. Fuck, I can't find it. All right, whatever. Let's see here. I'll see if there's anything else under this I want to talk about. I also do believe, guys, that we're going to invade or at least overthrow Maduro in Venezuela. And I don't know how we do that, but I do think that's coming, just so you know. That's coming. That's where our attention is headed right now. Jesse, you were right over the target on all of this. The Holy Spirit is moving in you. Please don't quelch it. I appreciate that. I don't think that's happening for me, Ash. But hey, man, I look at it this way. I might not believe what you believe, right, in regard to Christianity, but I will fight for your guys' right to believe it, and I believe Christianity is a force of good in this world. Either way, whether you're right or not. And I don't know the truth. I don't know the truth. I just know I don't know. And but I'm rooting for you guys, and I'll take you guys over Islam any day of the week. SMLR is up 65%. 65%. Let's see, ASST, what is it doing? Down 5%. SMLR, well, it's I don't know. We'll see. 39 now, 40%. So not bad though. That's a heck of a pop. Again, guys, this kind of stuff is so fucking beautiful. It's such a good thing to have mergers and acquisitions. This is going to heat up the market. It's going to be fun. All right, another thing that's funny. This dumb bitch, I said this last week. She thinks that Gavin Newsom telling ICE agents that they have to take off their masks actually means something.
I just got out of Governor Newsom's bill signing ceremony.
She's like here. I don't know if she's news media or part of the government. She literally thinks this means something.
For SB 627, the No Secret Police Act, we are now the first state in the country to say ICE and law enforcement, you cannot wear masks while policing our communities.
And that holds no jurisdiction over the federal government in any way and means absolutely nothing. Isn't that fun? Oh, that was the Free Palestine guy. Oh, I love this stuff, though, guys. I see a lot of this coming, and I'm gonna play this video, but I'm gonna show you more examples of why the tide is turning red. Real quick here.
Hey, good morning. The more and more I watch Charlie Kirk's videos, the more disgusted I am with the nation. The more and more I'm disgusted with the side that's cheering his death. Because I'm looking
Yes,
for
thieves
him
can.
being racist clips. I'm
Thieves
looking
can, macro.
for him being misogynist clips.
Isn't that
And you know
crazy?
what I come to realize is that there are a bunch of fucking idiots out there preaching shit that they don't know nothing about. We are surrounded by people that claim to be intelligent, emotional intelligent. I was disappointed before because of the cheering, but now I find out that somebody assassinated a good man, and all these fucking retards cheered en masse. I don't give a fuck anymore. He was trying to be fucking oh my God, he was so intelligent. And the way he broke down, you made me watch Charlie Kirk. You said he was a racist. I want to see how racist he got. He wasn't fucking racist. I agree with him on a bunch of shit. No,
There's more to it, but I mean, that gets you the gist, right? And there's a lot of people like that. Yeah, we can talk about SWC and MTPLF, and don't worry about the Bears. They're being fucking stupid. They'll sell right at the worst fucking time. Again, guys, October and November, I'm going to show you this here in a second, right after this part. We just got a couple more things to go through. October and November are the best time of the cycle every 4 years. If you're selling right now, you're a fucking moron who doesn't deserve to make money. That's just me being nice. Michelle said, breaking, Republican areas in Virginia are seeing massive early voter turnout compared to the Democratic strongholds. The surge is surprising and creating real momentum. This is on September 20th, with many crediting Charlie Kirk effect for energizing voters. So again, I'm changing my forecast for 2026. I actually think there's a revolution going on. And if you look here, these turnout numbers, 82, 72, 62. Of day one, 2024 area folks. Let's see here. What does it say here? 43, 42, and 31. So it's quite a change that's happening. Let me see what else we got. All right, we don't care about that. Let's go back over here. I'm going to jump to the Bitcoin side because I do want to show you a few things that I think are really good. And yeah, we'll try and look up a bunch of these other things too. I'm in Northern Virginia. It's real. Awesome, man. Oh, I believe you. If you're selling now, you should trade Pokemon cards. That's probably true. You probably wouldn't be good at that either, even though they have went up a lot. I said we're starting to see MNAV expansion across Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. DATs. These are treasury companies. When you hear DAT, think treasury company. Seasonally, this last week is down for Bitcoin and crypto. So again, it could be sideways chopped to down over the next week. But then it's off to the promised land. And when we talk about the promised land, guys, I mean it. And these things are already curling up more, I think, today too. Again, Bitcoin's price dropped, but these are actually handling really, really well. BMNR is only down 3.8%. Let's see here what else we got. Solana's still getting hit right now, but let's look here. It looks like DN3, the German meta planet, is down 3% in pre-market. That's really not that much considering how much Bitcoin dropped. That's not bad at all. So Bitcoin is probably down, at least 2 to 3%. And so this thing's about trading at where Bitcoin is. So I think it shows that it's ready to bounce, or it would be down more. And then Smarter Web Company. Let's see how are they doing here. I'm just going to check that out. Iron's still up 11%, still climbing. So much strength in that one. It's fucking ridiculous. SWC, so in the UK right now, we're up over 10% right now for the Smarter Web Company. Again, we're essentially right where we were over here on September 2nd. So it's felt really painful for the Smarter Web Company, right? But we're at the same level we were 20 days ago. So, and we've got bullish divergence to the upside. So I wouldn't freak out about it. It's going to do well. Metaplanet's going to do well. HPCs are going to do well. I think CleanSpark can do well based off the narrative of HPC play coming in the future and getting some kind of contracts. It's all going to be good. Everything is going up. Just be patient. All right, let's keep going, though. And if you guys have any tickers that you want to look at, let me know, too. So I did tell people that the short-term cost basis was going to be the base where we dropped in Bitcoin's price action. And I said between 111 and 112. We stopped at 111.7. So right in the range. And I said we were going to drop to 100, 112. Here I said 112. I said 111 on the other one. I said we were going to drop to this range because BTC only needs to climb 4%, he said, to wipe out 6 billion in shorts. So if it goes up here, it wipes out a bunch of shorts. Well, look at what's way heavier. Right here, right? So we just wiped out probably all of this short interest right here for like 6 or 7 billion. And cleaned that up and got rid of some of it, and now we can go higher. So you got to look at a multitude of things to be able to predict price action accurately. It's just how it works. 8:03, we got 27 minutes till the market opens. Matt G said, you mentioned you will be moving into Tesla hard before year end. Will the stock or be leaps? I won't be touching leaps. I've said that over and over again. The only leaps I'm doing are hedges, and I might look at some other ones over time, but I'll have good reasons for it. I think it'd be crazy to go into leaps right now with Tesla. It's already went up a lot. I already told you that we were breaking out from over here, and we did that, right? I told you this was a W bottom and that we were getting up here. I sold into here. We dropped really hard. I started buying again. I started really buying over here. I'm sitting on probably almost a million, maybe it's like, I don't know, 850,000 or something in Tesla. I think something like that. And I think we're consolidating well above this area. We could still drop down to the 398 range to close this gap over here. Or I think what's more likely probably is a run to 466 and then testing the all-time high at 486. If that happens, if we get to 486 without any kind of major consolidation, I am bullish as fuck Tesla. I still wouldn't get into options. But yeah, my goal, again, if I've got almost a million in here and this thing has went up, what, from 330 now to 430, so a 25% gain. Like, that's a lot of money. And I plan on having hopefully 4 to 5 million of this. So as it goes higher in the years, it'll be doing really well. Dario, do you think this year will play out like 2024, drop in December or January? Yes. I think it'll play out like 2021. This is the end of the cycle, guys. You have to realize that. I've probably got some other, I don't know if I showed you the margin debt one. I don't think I saw the chart for margin debt, but margin debt is incredibly high right now. It's at record levels. And what that means is every time we've peaked, if you go back to like before the dot-com bubble, again, the 1987 Black Monday, every time we've peaked to like incredible new heights with margin debt, we end up rolling over in the markets. These are just normal things. And so I think we're going to reach a state of overvaluation between like now and maybe the end of November. Maybe that could drift into December. Again, cycles in 2017, the cycle's definitely been more like just up and to the right and not a parabolic move yet. And in 2017, we definitely had some parabolic moves. I don't remember exactly what I was going to say, but it was a lot. I want to go over some other things. So DAT funds have started to increase inflows dramatically again in September. I said dramatically, maybe that's not true. And a lot of this was Ethereum, or let's see, it says Sol. It looks like Sol, with Bitcoin being really July and August, and then those things stopped, and then it started to jump into Sol. And we had, I don't know, ETH isn't displaying on here. There's something wrong with their chart. The numbers are right, though. This is block, actually, the block. And so, but there's something wrong with their color codes. They're not accurate. I just know that's true. And so if you look here, though, the volumes are right, though. These numbers are right. So like we had a major surge in July when everybody was getting excited about it. It washed out hard in August, and now it's starting to ramp up again, and I think it's going to go up in a big way here soon. Here is me yesterday, 13 hours ago, saying, hey, guys, if we don't bounce to start the week, I could see a drop that wipes out leveraged longs to 111 and 112. We stopped at 111,750. That should get most of them, and we did that. We're done now. Michael Saylor bought Bitcoin, a little less than 1,000. We've got, again, this is M2 liquidity. There's money supply liquidity. There's a bunch of things, and with a 3-month lead. And it just shows when you line it up with Bitcoin how we're most likely going to try and close this gap and go higher. And I think that's very true. Mag says, will Bitcoin peak at 207,000? Fibonacci extensions play a very important role in identifying key support and resistance levels once we enter price discovery. Price discovery is when you go like above a 52-week high, right? Or it could be shorter time frames too, but essentially when you're breaking out to a new high, that's price discovery. And if you're not using Fibonacci extensions, you don't know what your targets are. There's other ways to get to them, trend line, resistance, and stuff like that, but this is the best way. And so he's just saying in here, I could see Bitcoin getting up to like 200, 207 is what he puts in here, but whatever, 185 to 200, and then rolling over and dropping down and finding support at the 100,000 range. I don't think that would be crazy. I think it would probably go a little bit further. I think it could go to like between 100 and maybe 70. I could see that, or the 69 level, hitting the previous high to find support. It could do something like that. Or it could go even higher than 200,000. But again, I would rather, let's put it this way, if we get to 185,000, I'm worth at least $12 million, and I've made at least 3x plus what I have right now. And I'm a very happy person if I make 200% between now and the end of the year. If I can get to $12 million, I will not be angry, no matter how much higher Bitcoin goes. Plus, some of the things that I will do is I'll probably acquire some actual physical Bitcoin for storage too, like I do every cycle. But yeah, so I think something like this could happen, but I think the bottom would probably be closer to 70. And just again, this time isn't different. We're going to wash out at some point, guys. It's just the way that we have little mini cycles. Here's the difference. The long investor who posts on here a lot, he's had a lot of wins this year and done a really good job. So I don't want to disparage him, but his view right now, he's got Trump derangement syndrome, and he seems to think that we're headed towards a Great Depression, and he's letting his politics basically cloud his judgment and prevent him from being able to make money over the next year plus. Now, he could end up doing all right, because I do agree with him that by the end of this year, beginning of next year, we'll probably have some kind of retracement. And it could be like a 30% or a 20%er across an index. It could be something decent. It's just not Great Depression. It's not going down fucking 80%. That's not happening. I know Henrik and all these other stupid fucking macro economists talk about this stuff. And I know I'm just a high school dropout, but I'm smarter than they are. And at least in regard to this. And I say that trying to be as humble as I possibly can, because there's a lot of other things I've not been smart on this year. But there's some things you just know you're right on because you've done your homework and you know they haven't. Anyway, Crash, I know you are out of SBET, but can we still look at the chart? Yeah, sure. Give me a sec. I said, no, they didn't. So Lucas said, you really think the 2017 or 2021 BTC tops form with everyone screaming the top is in? No, they didn't. And I just want to be clear, guys, we have our guide over here too, the 30 indicators. This actually, one of these did trigger last week. It was the altcoin season index. It was showing that altcoin season has started, but now since it's back to consolidating again, it turned off. So now we have 0 out of 30 again. This is not how a cycle ends. I can just tell you, we're so not done. And here's what I wanted to get to, because I think this is really important, okay? So what does this post say? This post says, Mr. Crypto, well, okay. 10 days left until we enter October. Do you understand? So everybody's talking about October because it's such a great month. But here's the thing. Here's the months you actually need to be paying, or years and months you need to be paying attention to. 2021, that's a cycle top. What did we do in October? 39.93%. Now, what's interesting about this is in November, we were negative 7.11%. Why would that happen? Oh, did the Fed raise rates at the most aggressive rate in history? Killing the stock market, crypto market, all these meme stocks, all the shit that was going on at the time, all the SPACs? Yes, it did. So 2021 was an anomaly in November. It was not the norm. I want you to think about that, because now we're going to go to the 4-year top in 2017. What happened in 2017 in October? Up 48%. What happened in November? Up 53.48%. What happened in December? Up 38.89%. You're fucking kidding me. So November and December, in 2021 were down, but that was because of Fed action. This time we're doing the opposite thing. We're injecting more liquidity by lowering rates. So October, November to December 2017 looked pretty fucking sick, right? Well, let's go to 2013. This was the other sequence. Now, this one we had already bombed out in December, but let's look at October, 60%. What happened in November? Fuck. 449% upside in Bitcoin. So we had a really powerful blow off top in 2013. We had a slightly less powerful, longer delayed cycle in 2017. I argue that 2021 would have actually had a longer cycle and would have gotten us closer to the levels that we're at right now if the Fed wouldn't have raised rates at the most aggressive rate in history. So I actually think October, November, and maybe even December could have been positive in 2021 because we are seeing a lengthening of these cycles. You can see it in Bitcoin's chart right now. It has not went parabolic. Sitting at 113 today, bouncing perfectly right where I fucking said it was going to on our trend line that goes back to the end December of 2024. Isn't that fucking convenient? So I actually think October and November could be really good. There's potential it could even go into December. And so, but this time won't be different. It could, everybody will, if we're still rallying in December, everybody's going to say it's different. Everybody. They'll all be on the bandwagon. There'll be like 20% that are like, I don't think it is. I'm getting the fuck out. And that's probably going to be the right move is to flee towards safety. And if I have $12 million, I'm fleeing towards safety, guys. I'm not a greedy person. I'm not a greedy person. And here's the deal. If I get to $12 million, for me, that's like an 80x, right? If I hit my target up here, and the low for me, guys, in 2020 was $164,000. If I get to 12 million, I'm looking at, I don't know, is that 80? Can somebody do the math here? Let me see. I guess I could get a calculator. Wish I had my Grok on demand here for the boys sitting in front of me. Let me see. 12. Is that right? How many zeros? Yeah, okay. Divided by 73x. So not quite 80x if I get to 12 million. If I get closer to 13, then I'm over 80x. But 73x, that's what I'll have done from my low of 2020 to recently here. So in less than 6 years, I'll have done 73x. I think that's pretty admirable, personally. 100x? I mean, I'd like to get to 100x. But yeah, so I think good things are coming. T-Mobile announces new CEO. Nobody cares. Trueflation, what are we at? 2.15? Meh. All right. I don't think there's a lot. Let's look at charts. What did you guys want to look at again? Somebody said SBET, right? We can look at SBET. ETH is still up 8.33%. So not holding on to really strong gains. So I don't know what all the details of the deal were. But they couldn't have been like crazy super. SBET's down 6% in pre-market, and BMNR is only down 4.23. So, as usual, it seems like BMNR is the better bet. It's outperforming SBET again. I do think SBET could still go higher. It could go up into the 50s, maybe 58 range. I don't know about 93. I think that would take a miracle. I mean, that's where it says it's going. We'll see. It is a smaller cap, though. It's only like the 3 billion mark. So would it be crazy if it went up 400% and it was like at 15 billion? People would have to be pretty irrationally exuberant. TSWCF? Yeah, we can do that. I think I did that already, but I could do it again. I know I did SWC. Let me go back here too. Let's see, that's Iron. Iron's still up 9, so it's retraced a little bit. Smarter Web is up 6% now in the UK, so it's retraced a little bit. It looks like markets are just kind of coming back a little bit from earlier. TSWCF, this is the chart. It's got the same kind of thing. You've got this where technically the bold full body candles are going down. We do have a higher low, though, in this chart, so it's even more bullish than some other charts that are out there. And we've got, again, this divergence to the upside. So, yeah, I think it actually looks better than Metaplanet. No. The only thing that's going to... Well, I mean, it could. Yeah, the end of the quarter is like a week, right? So, yeah, it could. It could consolidate. We could still... I think we're still going to have a positive September, which people wouldn't have thought before. But we could consolidate for days or maybe through the next week here. Totally. They've got somebody talking about the H-1B visa program right now. Oh, that's Fox Business, though. I don't have that on my screen down here. QS. What is QS? Let's see here. Is that like QuantumScape? I don't know if I have that one. Best pre-market show on Earth. Thanks, dude. Appreciate you. Oh, it looks like I do. Oh, that's been a nice breakout. I mean, you got all the volume under you, bro. This looks like an easy... This thing wants to naturally drop down to this volume. So, like, it's probably a free ride to 19, which is like, what, a little under 50%. To me, that doesn't look bad at all. CRWV. Jesse, look at GUR. Okay. Let me see if I have that one. Is that a dog food one? What are we looking at here? I don't remember. I've looked at it before in December of 2024. I mean, everything is doing this. Look at all the volumes underneath of you. You've got low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. You're above all the volume, and you're getting ready to go higher. I can give you a real quick trend-based FIB extension here. It looks like market opens in 10 minutes. This is roughly. So I think based on kind of the lineup that we're seeing over here, I mean, this thing could go to $89, which sounds insane. And fundamentals can override that if the company sucks. I don't know Gorilla Technology Group well enough. I don't know what it does. The financial advisors have to do their quarterly window dressing. If you owned it, good time to sell SMLR. What is it at? What do they go to? 24%? I don't know. I don't know the contract, dude. You'd probably want to look it up and see what kind of deal it is to get some idea. Oh, hey, let me see here real quickly. Yes, the merger between asset entities and Strive Enterprises. I'm just going to check. Remember the ASST conversation? Let's see what we have here. I'm just going to have this do it.
Yes, the merger between Asset Entities Incorporated, ticker, $ASST, and Strive Enterprise.
Oh, I have an account, but it's not playing it right. I hate that. It sounds like a robot. 1 second. I'll just read it. Often referred to as an acquisition and a reverse merger context completed this. The combined company now operating. Blah, 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 blah. Yes, more share dilution is likely coming based on recent developments. Outstanding warrants. The company has warrants outstanding that, if exercised, could raise an additional $750 million, bringing total recent financing to $1.5 billion. This will require issuing new shares, directly diluting existing shareholders. New Simler Scientific acquisition announced today. Strive plans to acquire Simler Scientific in an all-stock transaction. This deal explicitly involves issues new Class A common shares of ASST with an exchange ratio of 21.05. So that is the diff, isn't it? 2105. Wait, what? Shares for each. Simler has approximately 14.8 million shares outstanding. If completed, this would result in Strive roughly 311 million new shares, increasing total shares outstanding to about 582 million, dilution of over 50% for current. Yeah, so that's just happening right now. You got outstanding warrants that could dilute you by like 50% or whatever that number was. Then you have dilution too from this acquisition that's diluting you by 50% too. But you're also getting Bitcoin. So I had to have to do the math on that. Broader financing plans. Post-merger, the company filed S3 shelf registration for up to $1 billion in additional equity. There's so much dilution happening. I don't know, man. But similar is that it's being priced at 36.67. I'm not quite sure why it's being priced at that. This deal explicitly involves issuing new common shares for ASST with an exchange ratio of 21.05 ASST shares for each similar share. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. That math might be right. That math is probably right. That probably gets you to like what the contract falls to. Solana. Yeah, we should look at some of the big dogs. Let's do that. Let's look at the bubble first. And then we'll go from there. So this is over the last week. Bitcoin's down 1.7%, Ethereum down 6.9%, Solana down 4.9%. So Solana outperforming it, BNB doing well, XRP down as well. So a lot of things down over the last week. Let's go further here and see how things are performing over the last day. So Bitcoin's down 2.4%. So again, the shit coins are getting the multiplier to the downside. So they've gotten hit pretty hard. What's interesting is that CleanSpark and Mara are only down at like 2.8%. So they don't really have a multiplier on them to the downside like shitcoins do right now, which is kind of fascinating. I know Benjamin Cohen was talking about his theory of Bitcoin still outperforming for a bit, or at least leading the markets. So that's interesting. Very fascinating. Anyway, let's look over. We'll do Ethereum real quick, and then we'll do Solana. So Ethereum, nice consolidation, perfectly back to the next fib level. I think this is great. I think this is almost like a W bottom that's forming right now. I think we're going to get back up to the 5,000 range here soon. And then I think that W bottom gets us pretty much up to the 5,800 range, if not into the 6,000s. And I still believe that we're going to at least 10. I strongly believe that. I think that these are very tiny consolidations and we're getting ready to go parabolic. We at least go to the 10,000 range. To BMNR, laughing my ass off. I love Grok. Guys, the answers are in the clouds. Oh, you can get everything. You can get everything. You definitely got to listen to what Grok is throwing down. All right. So if we look over here, we can see how we're still consolidating. I think this is a very healthy range. I think you could almost make the argument here, guys, that what we're seeing is an inverse head and shoulders. Let me see if I can find that here and just draw that. So, like, let's call this a shoulder. I got to fix this 1 second. Let's do this. Let's see, what's transparent? No? I just want to be transparent. There we go. All right, and then let's do something like this. Bigger. All right. So I would say that's a shoulder. I would say that we have the head right here, or like a really wide dick and balls. Sorry for that, but that's kind of what it looks like. And this could maybe drop down to the 180 mark. It could happen. It doesn't have to. It could, if it just goes up, that's fine. It can be stronger than one would think. That's perfectly okay. But I don't think it stays here long. I think it could be something like this. And if this is truly the measured move, there's people talk about the cup and handle here. That's not going to be real. As far as like a measurable number for where we're headed, it's just not going to be real. But I like to operate on reality, and I think it's quite the coinky dink that this gets us perfectly up to the .618 level, 200% higher. If that can do 200, that means my 2x fund can probably do 5. So I can get 500% return or a 6x my money, 5 to 6x my money with sold. So I like that. That looks cool. I think that's the chart. CoreWeave to BMNR, laughing my ass off. I love Grok. Yeah, okay. Let's BMNR. Let's do that. Let's get that up. Yeah, BMNR still looks tight. I love how it's sitting here around this shelf. I mean, this thing looks like it wants to go higher. It's maintaining a vast amount of strength. I think it's just a matter of time before we get up to 80. And I think 107 is becoming soon enough. 80 will be our next stop, though. Hitting this recent high and then going to 80. And ultimately, I think we can get back to 145, if not higher. So I think that's very powerful. Are you buying the dip today? I don't know if I have any cash for it. If I do, great. I'm really not trading right now. I don't want to trade right now. I don't. I just want to, I'm here for the ride. I haven't looked at MicroStrategy in a while. Let's do that. Let me consolidate here. Okay. MicroStrategy looking strong. It does look like it's bounced. It's actually down a little bit again, so it got beat up a little bit. It's still under the 200. It was above it. Was it above it last week on the daily? No, it didn't quite get above it. So it's down here, and it really needs to get above the 200. I think it can do that. I think it'll be up here in the 378 range soon enough. And then it's 390s, and then it's up here to the big kahuna in the 400s. And that will be a consolidation zone that started in November of 2024. So that could be a good bump. And you could almost, it's not really a cup and handle, though. It's not. It's too deep. It's too deep. I honestly would be happy if MicroStrategy just went up 59% from here. It could do more than that, but it's probably going to be closer to what the return level of Bitcoin is right now because its size is so large and it's run so hard already. King Size Smile. Love my 2x plays, sold ETH TSLL, sitting on over 300,000 cash. Thinking of picking up some new stuff. You might want to, again, this isn't financial advice, but you might want to dial back some multipliers too, especially if they keep running more. ARGT's up 6% in pre-market. What the fuck is that from? That's probably from weakness in the dollar, maybe? No, the dollar's up today. Is it? No, where is the dollar? Let me see. Where is my dollar? There's my dollar. You know, it is down. Oh, yeah, that's what it is. So, again, international markets, guys, are going to do better. We did bounce back up into this, can consolidate, and now we look like we're going higher. I do think that we could make a move back up to like 99 or 100. So I'm glad I own this. It's got a little dividend. I think it's like 1.47%. It's not bad. ARCG, I heard that was doing good again today. Nice, dude. I got options on this one too. I will take it. This is looking beautiful. You know what we should do? I don't even know. Bump. Yeah, maybe I should. I don't even know where to draw this bitch, though. This is such a fucked up chart because it's so old. I feel like you could do it here or here. Let's just see. We're going to start it in the way back when it was first created as a fund in 2015. Just to see. Just to see what it looks like. Wait, why isn't that working? Why isn't... Here, let me refresh. Something's not working right. Give me a second. Back just added Mike Alfred. Yeah, we saw that earlier. That's cool. Oh, no, here we are. It's already there. I don't know why it wasn't working. So I do have it. So we are right at, guys, we are right at the breakout zone of the first fib. This is fucking exciting. So, yeah. Oh, and we opened. So we are open right now. So this thing is a zone, guys, that's been going on since 2022. Yep. Ding, 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 ding. There you go, guys. This is exciting. So look at this. In the amount of time since I updated this chart, this one's gone. It's hit the target. Now we're up here. If this thing doubles, I can start making a lot of money. So again, genomics and this whole space is looking stronger by the day. My target is up in the 60s. If that happens, I'm going to make a lot of money. A lot of money. So Archie's looking good too. We got Ethzilla still up 5%. We got Similar up 23%. Is it a good time to sell? I don't know. We got Sequoians up 2.44%. We've got SoFi up 0.81%. We've got Solt down 11. That's actually not bad. Metaplanet's down 1.47%. That's not a big deal. I don't know if we looked at that one. Did we? Let's look. U.S. market. Got a bunch of boxes up in front of us here that we need to close. Oh, I do need to update this one because it did wick down just a little further. Boy, and it wicked hard too. And we got the highest volume peak. Again, highest volume peak since June. Early June. So I think that's good. This is probably going to be the bounce zone. And again, there's just so much volume near us that we're bottoming. I think a lot of their dilution is done over the short term. I got to look at what the stats are sitting at. We should see. Let me check something real quick. Uber all-time high, silver 52-week high, Biddy all-time high. Yep, that's happening, isn't it? Oh, I don't know if I have it in here. Let me see. I can shrink it up. I was going to pull up MetaPlanet. Should probably look at Ethereum too. Did we even get to that? You probably should. Tom Lee, BMNR. This is from Stock Market News. He said, BMNR bought 264,378 more Ethereum this past week. It's biggest total weekly buy since the week of 8/10 to 8/18. So again, their Ethereum stack is just growing by a massive number, and you're getting more Ethereum per share every bit that they buy. Amit said, company now owns 2.416, roughly 2% of the supply. So they've still got 65% of their goal left, 60% of their goal left. They're the 24th most traded stock daily and have a total of $11.4 billion between cash, ETH, and investments. Bitmine announced a securities purchase agreement to sell 5.2 million shares of common stock, $70 per share, 14% premium. They're selling stock at a premium to Friday's closing price, and warrants to purchase up to 10.4 million shares at $87.50 each, expecting to raise approximately $365 million from the stock offering and potentially up to $1.28 billion, including warrant exercises. Tom Lee, in our view, this 14% premium reflects not only strong institutional investor interest in the Bitmine story, but also confidence in our execution as a company. Institutional investors have told us Bitmain remains the only large cap U.S. stock to give investors direct exposure to Ethereum by selling shares at $70 per share compared to our $61.29 closing price. This materially accretive to existing shareholders, as the primary use of proceeds is to add to our ETH holdings. And I think that they'll actually demand a higher premium soon, which will allow them to do even better. What else we got? MB, Jesse, can you look at better BETR, please? Next best from Eric Jackson after open. I don't know what bet. Can you tell me what it is? Do you know more about it? Let me look at because I don't think I have that one at all. Never heard of that one. And I am going to try and look at more stocks, guys. I don't know if I'll pick a certain day for that, but I don't know if I have that one. Well, let me see. Or this thing's not loading. One of the two. Could be it. Yeah, it's not. All right, I'll get this off the screen. It's about mortgages. Charts is irrelevant. Okay. Let me just look over here. Let me see if I can log in here. 1 second. I gotta get past some security protocols, which are pretty vast. Let me see. Huh, let me see. Sorry, I got a thumbprint recognition shit. All right, there we go. Let's see here. Let me get this logged in. And then I'll pull it over. There we go. Let's see, better. There we go. Better home and financing. This isn't the home and garden thing, huh? Revenue, it's new. After the pandemic, it's growing revenue, losing money, losing 36 million to make 52. Negative cash flow. Its assets are going down and its debts are still high. Its share stuff looks weird. I don't know what's all happening. It looks like they're lowering expenses. What are their estimates going forward? More revenue, trying to break even by the end of next year or something. I don't know. This doesn't look interesting to me, but I don't know enough about the actual fundamentals to be able to tell you a story. So I don't know how much better their revenues get. I know they're guiding for very low expectations, so they're not even telling us that they're really going to make a lot of money. And what was open looking like? Let's go to open and see what they were telling us before. Nope, don't want that. Let's get back here. Open Door was telling us not much either. Okay. Yeah, and here's the thing. I don't even know the inventory they're sitting on. I know they have positive cash flows. Their net income isn't bleeding